Lawsuit talks against Chinese and Florida housing.
To call us agents of China is not only just wrong, but it's racist and insulting.
A hearing case argued in a Miami court. The ongoing war in Europe in relations to cost contributions.
Why one nation will fund, another over another in a particular context.
And where the U.S. stands in the impact. And a woman wrestler missing out on an opportunity of a lifetime.
I would be allowed to compete, but that's not an option.
Because of her uniform. These stories and more coming up on Newsbreak.
Hello, South Florida. I'm Valentina Gaspari.
And I'm Anthony Cruz. Today is Monday, April 22nd, 2024.
Live from the Lee Kaplan School of Journalism and Media in North Miami, this is Caplin News.
Trump on trial. Opening statements begin today for his hush money case. The week-long search for a jury is over, and the opening statements in former President Donald Trump's hush money trial in Manhattan are expected to take place this morning.
Trump denies that a sexual encounter between him and adult film star Stormy Daniels and the subsequent falsification of business records to cover it up during his 2016 presidential campaign ever occurred. He promises to be, quote, fair and impartial in court.
Yes, I would totally be fair and impartial because that's what I believe in, and I'm always, I'm a New Yorker. I'm up front and I'm honest about everything.
The former president continued telling reporters that he will testify during the trial.
A self-love showdown in state court over a controversial Florida law. Back in July, Governor Ron DeSantis signed SB 264 into law. It prohibited the transaction of property to Chinese immigrants without citizenship or permanent residency, as well as those considered domiciles in mainland China. Defended in federal court in August, the American Civil Liberties Union sought to appeal the ruling of Shen v. Simpson. I was able to speak to them following the Friday's hearing in the 11th Circuit Court in downtown Miami.
Stop the property ban! Stop the property ban! Stop the blame! Stop the blame!
DeSantis cited national security concerns against the Chinese Communist Party as his reasoning for its passing. Patrick Toomey and Ashley Gorski of the ACLU's National Security Project argued that it is a discriminatory law in blatant violation of the Equal Protection Clause in the Constitution and the Fair Housing Act.
This law legitimizes and expands housing discrimination in Florida. It is blatantly unconstitutional, and it discriminates against people based on where they're from and the fact that they are immigrants in this country.
Many Asian advocacy organizations rallied outside of the courthouse following the hearing. They claimed that SB 264 resembled 20th century anti-Asian laws, and just like Shanti Elise Prasad, all agreed that we can't go back.
We've had these laws before, and with the Chinese Exclusion Act, with anti-alien land bans that have gone to court, that have been defeated, that have been deemed morally reprehensible, and we can't go back.
Alien land law bills that mirror SB 264 have been propped up across the country in other states such as Georgia and Texas. Texas congressional representative and Chinese immigrant Jean Wu believes that these types of legislation undermine the true values of people with stories like his.
And what we're saying is, look, Asian Americans are not the Chinese Communist Party. Those are very different things. In fact, like my family, we fled here. We fled from the Chinese Communist Party to be Americans. To call us agents of China is not only just wrong, but it's racist and insulting.
Advocacy across the country to halt these alien land laws will not stop now as the ACLU and Asian American community in South Florida await a positive result from Friday's appellate hearing.
The price of housing in Miami-Dade is rising, but the amount of deals are dropping. Caplin News reporter Hannah Klosoff dives into the details of South Florida's housing crisis.
Today, many Miami homebuyers are feeling discouraged by the latest release of housing market data, as it dims the prospects of purchasing homes.
According to statistics released by the Miami Association of Realtors and the Southeast Florida Multiple Listing Service, in March, the price of single-family homes reached a record high of $650,000, and condos hit $445,000. However, there was a 15% decrease in the number of homes sold compared to last year. Cash deals continue to dominate the market, with over a third of closed deals in Miami-Dade surpassing the national average of 28%. Now, why are Miami housing costs so high? It all boils down to zoning. A huge 87% of residential land in Miami-Dade is reserved for only single-family homes, which creates challenges for developers to build more affordable options. Urban designer and town planner Pablo Dueñas sheds light on Miami's design and its impacts on housing costs.
So higher density and with a range of pricing and development. You can go all the way from low income to luxury high-end housing, but as long as you have high density and you have more people being connected at once with massive transportation, then that brings costs down for everybody.
This is Hannah Kosoff with Caplin News.
Speaker of the House Mike Johnson proposed a bill that is expected to pass the Senate this week. The bill includes aid to Ukraine, Israel, and Taiwan while banning TikTok unless the platform changes owners. The House is split as the Democrats approve of foreign aid spending, but Republicans oppose. President Biden, however, supports the bill and is expected to become law in the coming weeks.
More now on the funding fight over Russia's war in Ukraine. As Caplin's Christina J. Harris reports, the leaders overseas are accusing the U.S. of not paying its share.
My frustration is nothing, I can assure you, by comparison with what the president of Ukraine and the people of Ukraine feel.
Ukraine and Russia have been at war since February of 2014, with many surrounding countries like Poland and Spain volunteering 2% of their GDP to help Ukraine with military and humanitarian aid. Many surrounding European allies believe the U.S. is not contributing enough to aid Ukraine with what they need to survive.
The European Union and its member states have spent double what the United States has spent on helping Ukraine. We are often suspected in the United States, including in Congress, of being free riders.
On the contrary, with Europeans feeling that the U.S. isn't contributing enough, some Americans feel that the responsibility of contribution is dependent on the historical relationship with either Russia or Ukraine. Florida International University professor of history Rebecca Friedman states what she's observed.
The past always weighs upon the contemporary moment, always in multi-layered ways that we can't forget. And also when we think about foreign policy and investment in defending nations outside of our borders, again, I'm just repeating what I said, but I think it's really important to think about the ideological impulses that exist, why one nation will fund another over another in a particular context. There is a responsibility on the part of all European nations to be involved in helping Ukraine against the Russian aggressor.
While both the U.S. and surrounding European countries have pledged a percentage of their GDP, citizens of all countries involved have various viewpoints on what the contribution should be for their homeland and other allies. For now, reporting for Caplin News, I'm Christina J. Harris.
This year, the number of high school seniors who have applied for financial aid has decreased significantly. According to the National College Attainment Network, only 37% of seniors submitted the application through April 12th, compared to the 50% of the previous senior class. The data also shows a decline from students in low-income and higher minority schools.
Fire and Ice as both the Heat and the Panthers begin their playoff runs.
That's still ahead, and so is the story.
She's powerful, she's patient, and once she puts her foot on the gas, nobody can stop her.
U.S. national champion could be kept off the qualifying mat for this year's Olympics because of her uniform. Newsbreak will be back in 2 minutes.
How prepared is your family if a tornado shows up at your doorstep, or a flood, or a hurricane? You can't just turn away a natural disaster. That's why it's important to go to ready.gov/plan now. It has the tools and tips you need to make an emergency plan with your family. So if disaster comes knocking,
let's go.
You'll be ready to help keep your family safe.
It's just a pizza.
Yes. Make a plan today.
FIU wasn't really my first choice, but, I grew up wanting to be a Hurricane, but that didn't work out, so I'm here now, I guess.
Hey, man. Your shoes untied.
Thank you, bro.
Yeah, no problem.
Should have done that against Georgia Tech.
Jordan knows he shouldn't eat this entire bowl of nachos, but tonight he's earned that right because a few hours ago in the middle of happy hour, he recognized a sign, not from the gods or a bolt of lightning, but from a double heart, a kissy face, and a fourth ha in ha ha ha. That's when Jordan knew he was buzzed. So when it was time to go, he got a ride home instead of driving. Be a legend like Jordan. Recognize your buzzed warning signs and get a ride home. Buzz driving is drunk driving.
I help our fellows design their paths as creative entrepreneurs. My experiences serving startups, creative businesses, and cultural organizations, and my journey as a queer mixed immigrant with Haitian and Arabic roots, inform the co-creative environment we foster at Radcliffe. We leverage our collective diversity to encourage the building of lifelong personal learning networks and mindsets that stimulate continuous innovation.
A wrestler who almost never loses is feeling pinned down by her sports policies. Jamila McBride goes to a college near Atlanta, and she is the NIAI national champion for her weight class.
But over the weekend, she was left out of the Olympic qualifiers because of her uniform. Jamila wears a hijab and stays covered while wrestling. According to USA Wrestling, Jamila's uniform does not follow the world guidelines. That's why they say she cannot compete in the U.S. Olympic team trials, even though her national title earned her that right.
So I think everyone should have the freedom to practice their religion, practice their beliefs, and have the freedom to participate in sports and what they love to do.
There's now an online petition to let Jamila wrestle internationally.
Heat fans are licking their wounds this morning after a beatdown in Boston to begin the playoffs. Miami was without Jimmy Butler against the top-seeded Celtics. Boston won by 20 and now has a 1-0 lead in the series. Looking at the sideline score called, the final score was Heat 94, Boston 114. The Panthers won the first game of their playoff series at home against the Lightning 2-3. Meanwhile, the Marlins earned the split in Chicago, beating the Cubs 6-3. More on these games on Sideline later today on Kaplan News. Newsbreak is coming right back.
Severe weather can strike anytime, anywhere, but there's a simple way to stay safe. Hey, Jim Cantori here. I stay safe in dangerous weather by planning ahead. You can stay safe too with a few easy steps. Build an inexpensive kit with supplies for your family's needs. Write down important information like phone numbers and medications. Always talk with your family and remember any pets in your planning. Be ready, be safe. Start your plan today at ready.gov/plan.
I don't know why you're so sad. You've got a roof over your head.
You gotta stop with that depression stuff. That's what white people think. You all right?
It just feels like it's coming from everywhere.
Do you want to talk about it?
You can talk to me if you're feeling sad.
Whenever you need to talk, I'm here, okay?
If you're buzzed and doing this, to make yourself feel okay to drive,
ZWX.
You're not okay to drive.
YGKLVW. Regular you.
That's all the time we have for Newsbreak. I'm Valentina Gaspari.
And I'm Anthony Cruz. Remember to reuse, reduce, and recycle every story at caplinnews.fiu.edu.
Happy Earth Day, everyone.